We are building tools more powerful than anything human beings have ever had before. What happens when a species like ours gets that kind of power? I've been paying attention to AI for about 30 years now, first as a hobbyist back when just about no one took me seriously, and more recently in business, trying to understand what these tools can actually do in the real world, not just in theory but in practice. My name is Gil Paul. And what these last few years have taught me, especially the last few years, is that the most important part of the conversation really isn't about what AI can do. It's become more about what AI reveals in us, what it amplifies in us, and what we may need to become if we're going to survive our own power. If you listen to the public conversation around AI, you mostly hear two stories. One's the doomer story, the story of fear. AI is going to destroy jobs, destabilize society. It's going to outthink us, outperform us, ultimately replace us. It is the existential threat of the day. The other story is the counterpoint, the salvation story. AI is going to cure disease. It's going to extend life, create abundance, unlock scientific breakthroughs that have been unimaginable. It's even going to make human labor optional. It'll be the new Garden of Eden. Well, it's possible, and I believe it's happening, that both stories, or at least parts of both stories, are coming true. I do think we could see it happening right now. But both stories skip past the question that should perhaps interest us the most. Even if AI gives us more power, more wealth, more knowledge, more capability, does any of that actually make us better? Do we become better humans? Here's what bothers me. Human beings already have a long track record of turning increased power into increased dysfunction, greater depths of corruption and domination. We get new tools, and yes, sometimes we use them to heal, to build and discover. But we also use them to manipulate, to distract, to divide. Let's not forget how we've used new tech to kill more efficiently, all while becoming more comfortable without becoming any better. Look around. We live in a world of astonishing abundance compared with almost all of human history. Most of us carry around devices with access to more information than any emperor, king, or president ever had. We can summon food, entertainment, opinions, validation, outrage, distraction, all with a snap of our fingers. And yet it seems pretty obvious that we're not becoming wiser, or more united, or more humane. So why would we think that even more power fixes any of that? What would lead us to believe that intelligence at scale solves the deeper human problem? I don't think it does. Based on history, based on current events, it hasn't. Because the real problem is not our lack of tools or resources. The real problem is that we haven't evolved. Even as all our stuff has gotten better, we are morally, emotionally, and spiritually stagnant. We're underdeveloped for the tools we now have arriving at our doorstep. I know it sounds harsh, but the truth often is. We're still living the jungle philosophy. We hoard, we posture, we fear, we compete for status, we protect our tribes, we rationalize our selfishness. Yes, we have better everything, but it seems like that just makes us savages with better stuff. Still living the jungle philosophy, never getting the memo that in many ways we've already made it. And that leads to what I think is one of the central truths of the moment. More is not better if we are not better. This is the issue. AI is absolutely going to change the world. It already is. It has already transformed medicine, education, engineering, design, logistics, research. It's transforming energy, It's certainly transforming warfare, art, law, business. AI will be able to produce levels of abundance that would have looked supernatural just a few short years ago. Obviously, I'm not minimizing this. The changes are coming, and much more quickly than most understand. These changes are going to be enormous. But abundance does not create virtue. Power doesn't create wisdom. Efficiency doesn't create meaning, and intelligence alone does not lead to evolution. So when people talk about the existential risk of AI, they're framing it too narrowly. They imagine the machine is the threat, and for sure, the machine is becoming more dangerous, but ultimately the dangers of AI is that it reflects who we are. The danger is us. The danger is what happens when human beings, still driven by that jungle philosophy, ego, greed, tribalism, the kill or be killed mindset, gets their hands on tools and creates godlike power. The existential threat is not just about what the machine becomes. It's about our inability to grow into being the best of what humanity can be. And if we're unable to evolve to take that next step, then we've only succeeded in taking the instincts of barbarians and giving ourselves thinking weapons. All of this leads to the question I want to explore on this channel. For most of human history, survival explained a lot. It was our perfect alibi. Life was hard, resources were scarce, vulnerability was real. Human beings struggled, fought, defended, built those tribes, built walls, and we did what we thought we had to do to endure, to protect our families. But now, maybe for the first time in our history, we have a chance to rise above the jungle philosophy, to take a breath, to step back, and to take a look at ourselves honestly. Not just at what we are building, but at what we're becoming. What happens when survival stops being the central principle, the driving factor for more and more people? What happens when machines just start carrying more of that burden? And what happens when abundance becomes the norm? Do we evolve? Do we become more conscious, more responsible and compassionate, more worthy of the power we're holding? Do we finally begin to ask not just what we can do, but what we should do? Not just what we can build, but what kind of people must we be to build without destroying ourselves? Or do we just become more comfortable savages with better stuff? And that, to me, is the real question. The answer is going to determine if AI is our salvation or the existential threat so many fear. We set the tone. We create the ground rules. The AI is following our lead, and we get to decide which way to go. It's not about whether or not AI is going to change everything. We know it is. It's not a question of AI being dangerous or not. We know it's dangerous. The real question is whether this moment can allow us to recognize who we are and what we must become. And that is what this channel's all about. Yeah, we're going to talk about AI, but we're also going to talk about consciousness and ethics, power and identity, civilization, meaning, the future of human beings in a world where machines will continue to improve and outperform us in more ways than we can currently imagine. And for sure, I'll be bringing my own lens to this conversation, about 30 years of paying attention to this technology and real-world business experience with what these systems can and cannot do today, as well as an understanding of what they may be capable of in the future. I'm also bringing my own spiritualism and identity as a Jew into this, not to narrow the conversation, but hopefully to deepen it. Judaism's spent thousands of years wrestling with questions like, what do human beings owe each other? And why does it seem like it actually becomes easier to look away from those in need the more comfortable we become? What does power do to the soul, and what does it mean to be free? Truly free, not just from oppression, but from the struggle to survive. These questions feel as relevant today, maybe more relevant today, than they ever did in all of recorded history. And now, before I close, I want to be straight with you about something. Every word you've heard is mine. The voice is mine. And the image you're seeing looks just like me, but it is an AI-generated version of me. This channel, at least in part, is about understanding what AI can do, and I want to be honest with you about the AI tools that I use rather than pretend otherwise. Using Heygen for this project frees me up to focus on the words and the ideas instead of worrying about lighting and framing and teleprompters. AI is a tool we're all going to need to get comfortable using. My hope is that we all use it honestly. So if you're interested in more than AI hype and more than AI doom, if you want to think more seriously about what AI means, not just for the world out there, but for the kind of people we are becoming, my name is Gil, and I welcome you to the Human Precipice.